Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Please give us a call if you guys are looking to improve your credit score, lower your car payment, buy a car, trade in a car. If you're looking to purchase your first home, if you're looking to purchase a rental property, we can help you. Give us a call today, 877-205-7771. Talk to you guys soon, and thanks again.
Hello, everyone. This is Calvin Russell, CEO and founder of 850 Club Credit Consultation. Hope everyone's doing well today. Today, we're going to talk about a long-awaited video that I wanted to make sure I put in presentation format. That way, it's a little bit easier to understand. And I'll try to make this as quick as possible for as those who know me. I most definitely can go quite some time. So let's get straight into it. All right. So today we're going to go over the credit card levels, or tier level, as some people like to ask or call it, for scores that are between 700 and 300. Okay, so don't worry, we're going to break it all down, starting at the 300 level. So let's get straight into it. If your credit score is anywhere between 300 and 580, there are a few credit cards that's going to be very key upon your credit card building journey. Okay, and I tried to break it down as best as I could, from most important to least important. And I'll break it all down as much as possible. So, if your credit score is anywhere between 300 to 500, I recommend applying for the Capital One Platinum credit card unsecured first. Okay, I know what you're thinking, Calvin. There's no way I'm going to get approved for this card, and I've seen scores as low as 470 get approved for a Capital One Platinum credit card. You'd be surprised. And an unsecured, everyone's credit score is low for a different reason. Some people's utilization, some people's a bankruptcy, a repossession, bank, whatever the case may be. Everyone's situation is different. Credit scores are not necessarily low all the time because people have had, bad credit card experiences. As I mentioned, everyone's situation is different. So it never hurts to apply anyway. Also, if the score is that low, trust me, a couple of points won't play that major role, in trying to get that credit card. The reason why I recommend going this route is because it doesn't cost you anything, okay? Because normally when your score is under 580, you're about to spend some money just to improve your score. Not if you work with a company, like 850 Club or anything like that, just because, a lot of platforms that are out there, they're going to want some type of skin in the game. And again, I know that there's a lot of non-traditional credit building accounts, but for this, we're just going to focus on credit cards only. So I always recommend Capital One, Capital One, Platinum credit card, unsecured. And again, it's going to be the best route to go because it doesn't cost any money. Okay. If we don't get approved for that, I recommend going with Capital One secured credit card. Now, I know there's a lot of options, but let me break down why I want to go Capital One. Mainly because Capital One has, they have secured options where they run your credit, of course, and that determines, which deposit amount they want you to go with. Well, I'm sorry, not want you to go with, but of course, approved you for. And I don't know if people know this, but 80% of the people that get approved for a $49 deposit, most of them never even try to apply for a Capital One unsecured, credit card, because 80% of them can actually get approved for that. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you ever got approved with, Capital One secured credit card, and they said a $50 deposit, I strongly recommend putting in an application. Now, of course, assuming you didn't do it backwards, but some people, they put in the application for a secured credit card first and never even thought that they could get an unsecured credit card. So you'd be surprised. But that's their first tier. The second tier is $100, and the third tier is $200. Again, there is a credit check, so there's a possibility that you may not meet these qualifications. Okay. The reason why I recommend Capital One is, of course, you can add authorized users, up to 5 authorized users at no additional charge. There's no annual fees and no things of that sort. Now, I know that there's some other credit cards out there, which we'll get to in a hot second, and why I don't recommend starting off with those right off the back, okay? Then number 3, Credit One, credit card that's also unsecured. I think that a lot of people forget that Credit One actually does a soft pull. Now, there's a lot of little fees that I do not like with Credit One. They charge a non-usage fee. That means if you don't use the credit card, they're going to charge you anywhere between $8 to $12 a month just for not using it. Anytime you want to add an authorized user to the account, they charge you $30 per authorized user. And then, of course, you also have an annual fee. And then you also have, there's no automatic payments with Credit One. There, of course, there's an annual fee. So a lot of people are like, well, man, why would I get this card? Well, simply because it's an unsecured card, and who knows, you may have had a Capital One, an account in the past. And that's another thing I'm going to touch on a little bit towards the end, is that, everyone's situation is different. But if you've had a bad experience, not a bad experience, but if you had a bad account, with Capital One, then of course we can't go with Capital One, and Credit One may be our only option. Okay, so moving forward, number four, Open Sky credit card. Now, this is actually the Open Sky is a secured credit card, so automatic approval, with $200, and of course you need a bank account. Okay, I mean, need I say more? I believe that's a $35 annual fee. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot add authorized users. That part kind of sucks. But either way, it's an automatic approval with Open Sky. And again, you may have had, bad credit because you had a Capital One and a Credit One account at the same time, probably, or either or, and things didn't go the way you wanted them to. Okay. So Green Dot Visa secure credit card. I recommend this one because there's no credit check and there's no bank account needed. But again, this is like option five. This is the bottom, not the bottom of the barrel, but this is like the last option, mainly because again, there's an annual fee, there's no credit check, no bank account needed, and you're probably like, well, what's the difference between going with Open Sky and Green Dot? It outside of that having a bank account, which most people normally do anyway, there's really no difference. I don't necessarily see, because they're still going to cost $200. But again, Green Dot may be a better option for you if you, because there are some people who apply with, Open Sky and things that go the way they wanted to. And Green Dot may be like the last of the Mohicans because there is no credit check or bank account needed. And of course, the minimum is $200. Okay. Now, let's talk about why you want to stay away from Discover secured credit card. My personal recommendation is you want to Discover is one of those banks that you really want to wait until you start getting your stuff together. Granted, you can get a Discover credit card, pay on it for a few months and then they transition you over. But a lot of times when they make that transition, the limit is very low. That's number one. Then number two, even if the limit is not low, of course, they do a credit check as well too. So just little things like that play a major role because I'd rather people get a higher limit later down the line. So let's talk about it. You get a better limits when the scores are above 660, and you don't have to worry about having and you don't have to have a Discover card. Okay, so here's a problem. I've never seen a person get approved for a high limit credit card, such as Discover card, right? And have an open secured credit card because they don't approve an unsecured, Discover card if you have an open secured. Okay, so just kind of just keep that in mind, during the credit card journey. Let's go to the next level. Additional cards to dismiss on that list is going to be First Premier credit card. I mean, just because of all the fees. And don't feel bad if you guys have opened any of these accounts and it's in a different order. It's not the end of the world. Just make it, at the end of the day, as long as you use the credit cards like you're supposed to, you'll be fine. Okay. So First Premier credit card, don't like them just because of all the fees. First Progress credit card, same thing, all the fees. Total Visa card, Unity Secured card, Citibank, and most drive-by banks. Now, I know you're thinking, well, man, Citibank, I got something in the mail, and they asked me to do a secure credit card. Yeah, but again, the problem is that a lot of these companies don't want $200. A lot of them want 300, and so on and so forth. A lot of these companies do credit checks. So again, if we have to put in an application and our score is like in that range, more than likely we're probably not going to get it, approved if there is a credit check. Okay, and of course, most drive-by banks. So those banks that you drive by, like banks that I don't know, everyone's in a different area, so everybody's bank is going to be different because, and the reason why I bring that up is because most of those banks want you to put down at least $500 for a secured credit card. You'll be very okay. If your credit score is anywhere between 580 and 650, okay? Again, now we're going to start off with Capital One Platinum credit card. Why is that? Well, this is usually Capital One's this is their best range. This is what they're known for in the marketplace, in this particular score range. They usually give, limits anywhere between 3 to 500, 750 to 1,000, depending on, credit card history and credit report history and things of that sort. Number two, Capital One Platinum Preferred card. This card actually just came out. And what I like about this card is that you still get all the benefits of a Capital One card, but now you get that balanced transfer opportunity. And you don't necessarily have to worry about, going with, any other, card. Because again, there's going to be a lot of cards that's going to come in the mail, but you want to make sure it's not with that list that I just gave you. Okay. And again, this is a great second, a great card to have, on file. Number three is going to be the Avant credit card. And with the Avant credit card, of course, there's going to be a soft pull. That's the one thing I like about it is that it doesn't affect your credit score. And then, of course, they're approving everyone anywhere between $500 to $1,000 limits. And having $500 to $1,000 limits plays a major role because usually when you're just starting out building your credit, whether it's in this range or the range before, a lot of those limits are going to be around about $300. So we want to start off with a nice limit, which is anywhere between 500 to 1,000. And again, it's a soft pull. So that means that if you get denied, it won't affect your credit score. Number four, credit one, credit card, of course, still a soft pull, unsecured, and you guys remember everything I was saying before. And again, this is an option. If you probably haven't had, or I'm sorry, if you probably had a Capital One Platinum credit card in the past, but things probably didn't go the way you wanted them to. So again, everyone's situation is different. Credit One is not horrible, just like Indigo. Indigo is a great card too. These cards are at the bottom of the list just because I don't like the annual fees and all the just random and stupid fees that they charge. But, if you're looking to build your score and then, this is what we have access to, and things didn't go that well with Capital One, things didn't go that well, with other credit cards, and then we may be painted into a corner where we have to work with what we what's coming in the mail. Okay. Here's another thing I want to bring up too. When you start being in that range, because again, a lot of people could be 650, 600 due to utilization or being an authorized user, a lot of different factors. So I want to point something out. Just because you get possible offers of bigger brands while you're probably in this range, more than likely like 630 above, 640 and above, American Express, Citibank, Discover, Bank of America, etc. Those limits are better when the score is a lot higher. So just because you can get approved does not mean you should put the application in. That's what I call a good credit problem, where people start getting all these letters in the mail, they're not sure what to do. And then of course they just start taking any and everything. You don't want to do that. Okay. Every strategy. And then last but not least, a credit score between 650 and 700. Now, this is where the big dogs come in at, okay? Usually when the scores are around this range, you're going to start seeing mail from American Express. I recommend the American Express Blue Cash every day. They also got the Cash Magnet as well, too. But this one's been out a little bit longer. And again, I recommend 680 to 700. I've seen people get approved like around 650, 660. But again, it's not just about getting approved. We're now transitioning to the next phase of credit right here. The next phase of credit is where you was trying, the old phase was you was trying to get approved. Now the new phase is, yeah, I'm gonna get approved, but what type of terms am I gonna get? What type of limit am I gonna get? So what's the benefits of having this credit card? That plays a major role. Number two, Chase Slate, Chase, and of course Chase three, Chase Freedom. Now here's the deal. A lot of people have been talking about what they call the 524 rule, where you don't want to have any more than 5 inquiries in the last 2 years. I've seen people get approved for Chase credit cards, and they had more than those particular inquiries. It's more so how you use the account and how you use the card, and there are a lot of people that are happy because of that. So, but either way, Discover Cash Back Match. That's another great card as well too. And again, a lot of these cards will even have annual fees. Bank of America, Bank AmeriCard. I'm actually not sure if that has an annual fee or not, but again, is always just a great option. Then of course, Capital One Preferred and Capital One Platinum. You're probably like, well, why do you have these on there? Well, listen, don't forget about Capital One. Capital One, if a person has a score around this range, and they don't have a Capital One card, not chances are, they're going to give you a $1,500 to $2,000 limit just to kind of get things rolling. So, but again, everyone's situation is different. And, depending on their history, like that person's credit history, that plays a major role. Let's talk about other factors. Number one, being an authorized user plays a major role when you have a relationship with that bank. For example, if someone lets you be a part of their Chase credit card, and as an authorized user, over time you've built a relationship with that bank, and so now your name, your social, your date of birth, it won't be unfamiliar. When you actually go and apply. Okay. Number two, if you had a previous bankruptcy, that plays a major role. Some banks don't like how recent bankruptcies are. Charge-offs, for example, if you had, a charge-off with Bank of America, they're more than likely not going to be doing business with you right off the bat, if that makes sense. And then, of course, previous account history. If you've been late on certain things, that plays a major role, and especially, going with that same company. Of course, the next one will be income and length of credit history. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. If you make a certain amount of money, That may determine, what type of what type of limits that we're going to be getting, along the way. And then of course, length and credit of credit history. A lot of people have started, credit when they were like 18, some when they, was 25. Everyone's situation is different. So the longer the credit history, the better everything is going to actually be. Then of course, increase. How many increase do you have in the last, 2 years? That plays a major role. And of course, current account history. So let's say, for example, this is normally if you're going to fall into installment accounts. So for example, if you have a mortgage with, let's say, Citibank, and then more than likely, if you didn't use that account properly, they're not going to approve you for a Citibank, credit card. Personal loans, student loans, and auto loans as well too. All that plays a major role. So I would tell people all the time, if you have a current like auto loan, or something like that with any one of these banks, you want to try to refinance it as soon as you can. Just because life changes, things change, and and things around people change. So you got to make sure. So here's the deal. Hopefully that video was helpful. If you guys like it, like it. If you want to share it, share it. And as always, be sure to subscribe as we have nothing but great content on the way. But some people, they're looking for a little bit more. Some people looking for credit coaching, and we can help you with that. Of course, you can give you credit card comparisons and how to. A lot of people don't know how to use a credit card properly and how to use it in a certain way where you can start, qualifying for, high limits, later, credit cards later down the line. Then is it time for another credit card, so we can help you with that comparison process, as well. And then last but not least, credit card expectations. A lot of times people, they'll get a credit card and they'll just assume, that, a limit is going to be a certain way, or, the perks are going to be a certain way with the credit card. We can walk you through that entire process. So please give us a call today. You can reach us at 877-205-7771. And then I'm telling you that we most definitely can help you. And of course, if you need anything, we always got more videos, well on the way. But be sure to give us a call, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions, comments, or concerns that you have, okay? Thank you guys so much, and have a great day.